Today's episode is brought to you by the Daily Gardener Friday newsletter. You can sign up for the newsletter over at thedailygardener.org. Hi there, and welcome to The Daily Gardener, a podcast featuring garden history and literature. I'm Jennifer Ebling, and today is February 10th. Today in garden history, in 1758, Carl Linnaeus, the man known as the father of modern taxonomy, was feeling his age, which was 50, by the way. He was battling another bout of depression, and his terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day was poured out in words that he wrote to his former pupil and friend, Abraham Beck. Carl wrote, "I cannot write more today. My hand is too weary to hold a pen. I am the child of misfortune. Had I a rope and English courage, I would long since have hanged myself. I fear that my wife is again pregnant. I am old and gray and worn out, and my house is already full of children. Who is to feed them? It was in an unhappy hour that I accepted the professorship. If only I had remained in my lucrative practice, all would now be well. Farewell, and may you be more fortunate." A side of Linnaeus that we seldom see. And today is also the birth of Benjamin Smith Barton, the American botanist, naturalist, and physician. Benjamin worked as a professor of natural history and botany at the University of Pennsylvania. And that is where he authored the very first textbook on American botany. In 1803, at Thomas Jefferson's request, Benjamin tutored Meriwether Lewis in botany to get him ready for the Lewis and Clark expedition. Benjamin was no doubt excited for Meriwether's prospects. In 1798, Benjamin encouraged his fellow man to, quote, add luster to their names by looking for new medicines through plant discoveries. He wrote, "The volume of nature lies before you. It has hardly been opened. It has never been pursued. The man who discovers one valuable new medicine is a more important benefactor to his species than Alexander, Caesar, or 100 other conquerors." And today, in 2018, British botanists and horticulturists Rod and Rachel Saunders were murdered by terrorists during their work in the Ongoya forest. The couple led extraordinary lives committed to scientific advancement, and they had spent decades seeking to understand the natural world, especially the world of gladiolas. In the 1970s, they established Silver Hill Seeds in Cape Town. That was the result of their lifelong commitment to collecting and studying rare South African plants. At the time of their death, they were nearing the end of their mission to find and photograph every known species of gladiolus in South Africa. They had only one flower left to find when they were killed on this day in 2018. In the wake of their deaths, and without the help of their missing laptops and notes, a small dedicated team of people completed Rod and Rachel's project, and the book Gladiolus of South Africa was the result. Professor Fiona Ross wrote these words in the foreword. Rod and Rachel always intended to dedicate the book to the tortoises they saved from road deaths. We do not know what they would have said in their dedication, but to honor their intentions, this book recalls the tortoises. Historically, gladioli symbolize courage. In contemporary florals, they also represent perseverance and remembrance, a fitting tribute to Rod and Rachel's lives and work. It's time to grow that garden library with today's book, Fruit Trees for Every Garden by Orrin Martin. This book came out in 2019, and the subtitle is An Organic Approach to growing apples, pears, peaches, plums, citrus, and more. Orrin is the longtime manager of the renowned Allen Chadwick Garden at the University of California in Santa Cruz. And this book won the book award from the American Horticultural Society. Orrin is a pragmatic plantsman, and his book is a genuinely useful resource for any budding fruit grower. The photos are beautiful, and the ease with which Orrin shares his wisdom makes the reader want to plant a mini orchard ASAP. If you have any desire to grow your own healthy, bountiful fruit trees, then Orrin's book is a must-have. You can get a copy of Fruit Trees for Every Garden by Orrin Martin and support the show using the Amazon link in today's show notes for around $16. Finally, today's Botanic Spark features Winifred Mary Letts, the English writer who was born on this day in 1882. Gardeners often quote her thoughts on spring. Winifred wrote, "That God once loved a garden, we learned in Holy Writ, and seeing gardens in the spring, I well can credit it." Winifred also wrote a poem about spring called Spring the Cheat, one of many poems that she wrote about World War I. Now, in this poem called Spring the Cheat, Winifred examines the season of rebirth, which of course is spring, and she contrasts that with the never-ending season of loss, of grief that comes with war. Here's an excerpt. "Oh, exquisite spring, all this, and yet, kinder to me, the bleak face of December, who gives no cheating hopes, but says, 'Remember.'" Well, that's it for today's show. Just a reminder that you have a standing invitation to join the Facebook group for listeners of the show. The next time you're over at Facebook, just search for Daily Gardener Community, where you'd search for a friend and request to join. And if you'd like more of The Daily Gardener, you can subscribe to the newsletter over at thedailygardener.org, where you can also show your support for the show by donating to The Daily Gardener. This is Jennifer Ebling. Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener. And remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day.